Welcome to Flip Lesson 26 for the 5th grade. Today we are going to talk about the division algorithm, or basically the steps that you need to take when it comes to dividing two numbers. Step number 1, it says we're going to start by dividing and write a number. Step number 2, multiply and write a number. Step number 3, subtract and write a number. And step number 4 is bring down the next digit. Now let's take a look at a problem so we can help understand exactly what these steps are referring to. The problem says the team bought 2 new scoreboards and a scorer's table that cost a total of $951. Now the question is, how much did each item cost? Now this assumes that they are all equal priced, and so by looking at that, we see that we have 2 of those, and that would mean we have 1 table, so 2 plus 1 is going to give us our number 3 here. All right, and so since our total price was $951, we're going to divide 951 by 3. All right. Now, step number 1 said the first thing we need to do is to divide and write a number. Okay, so we're going to take 3 and we're going to look at 9, and how many times does 3 go into 9? How many times can 9 be divided by 3? And I can see that 3 can go into 9 3 times. And so I divided, I wrote a number right above. Next, I'm going to take step 2 says I need to multiply and write a number. So next we're going to take 3 times 3, which is going to give us a total of 9. All right, so multiply those numbers. All right, step 3 says subtract. So I'm going to take my 9 and 9 subtract, and I get an answer of 0. All right, and then step 4 says bring down the next digit. Okay, so I'm going to take my 5. All right, I'm drawing an arrow for emphasis here, and if an arrow helps you to keep your numbers in line and understand where you're taking your next digit from, don't be afraid to draw them. And as we come to the end of step 4, now we're going to start back at the beginning looking at step number 1. Let's start at the beginning of number 1. And so we have 5. Now we're taking 5, number 5 here, divided by 3. 3 goes into 5 one time. That was step 1. Step 2 says 1 times 3 equals 3. Step number 3 says now I need to subtract. And so 5 minus 3 gives me an answer of 2. And last step says bring down the next digit. And once again, we're going to repeat one more time. And as we repeat one more time, we're taking 21 divided by 3. And as we look at that idea, as 3 goes into 21, we know that 3 goes into 21 7 times because of our multiples. And so we write a number. 7 times 3 is 21. Step 2, write a number. Step 3 says subtract. I subtract and I get a 0. And in this case, because there are no new numbers to come down and I've gotten to 0, I know that I have completely solved this problem. And by looking at that idea, I can come back up here and I can throw my $sign there, and I know that each of the items costs $317. And so this is how to do the division algorithm. So we took it nice and slow so we can see each step. Let's try another one. It said a group of 248 visitors came to the museum. The museum offers 4 opportunities to follow a tour guide. If the museum planner divided the visitors into the 4 time slots, how many visitors were in each guided tour? So we have 248 visitors and we have 4 groups that we can form, and so we want to know how many people are going to be in each group so that everyone can have a tour guide. And so once again, we're going to start with step number 1. Step number 1 says that we need to do 4 into 2. 4 goes into 2 0 times. Now in this case, because it goes in 0 times, we're actually going to jump ahead now, and we're going to take the entire number 24. So 4 goes into 24, and we know the answer is 6. Right? 6 times 4 equals 24. Step 2. Step 3 says subtract, get an answer of 0, and step 4 says bring down your next digit. All right. From here we start over. 4 goes into 8 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. And step 3 says subtract, and I've gotten to 0, which means that, and I'm out of digits. So that means we're done, and we've come up with an answer of 62 visitors. And so we have that idea. As we look at problems, sometimes we need to look at them in a different light. Understanding how to solve a problem with a missing variable or a missing factor, and exactly how to go about doing this. Now this all stems back to our principles of our fact families. I know that 2 times 3 equals 6. I know that 3 times 2 equals 6. I also know that this family means 6 divided by 2 equals 3, and that 6 divided by 3 equals 2. And in this case, we can use this principle of fact families to help us understand how to solve 5 times g equals 470. So I can start by thinking about my fact family. I need to get it to equal g, so that I'm solving for g. Now, if I were to just switch the multiplication around, that would just be g times 5 equals 470. And that's not going to do it for us. That's not going to help us figure things out. Now, if I take my product and I make it the division, right, largest number, right, 470 divided by g, that's not going to help me solve it. So I don't want that. But instead, I'm going to have 470, let's make that a 0, divided by 5. That's a division start. And now I have a way to solve for g. And so in the end, I rewrote this different ways, right? G times 5 equals 470. And then 470 divided by g equals 5. Right? But of course, the one we need is right here. This is going to be the problem that's going to help us solve. Now I'm going to rewrite this to make this easier to divide. And so I'm going to do 470 divided by 5. Following the steps, 4 goes into 5 how many times? 0, so we're going to go right to 47. 5 goes into 47 how many times? I know that 9 times 5. And so step 1, write a number. Step 2, multiply. 9 times 5 is 45. And now I can subtract. 47 minus 45 is 2. And step 4 is bring down the next digit. Then I can start over again. 5 goes into 20 4 times, and 4 times 5 is 20. Step 3, subtract, and here I go. And so I have a final answer of 94. Looking at our next example, we have 7 times m equals 721. And once again, we're going to use this principle, right, to help us rewrite our problem. And we're going to end up with 721 divided by 7 is going to give us m. All right. If we take the time to rewrite this real quick, 721, and we solve 7 goes into 7 one time. 1 times 7 is 7. Subtract 0, bring down the 2. 2 goes down. 7 goes into 2, can't do it. We're getting kind of advanced. 0 times, that time we got to put the 0 in there. And now we can bring down the 1. 7 goes into 21 3 times, and 3 times 7 is 21. And now we can subtract, And my 1 doesn't look very good here, but we know that it comes down to 0. And so our answer for M is 103. So we're looking at division in that way. Here's a sample problem for you to work with. Go ahead and try this as you work through the division algorithm. That's the end of lesson 26.